All right, good evening. Welcome, everyone. So great to be with everybody tonight. And first and foremost, let me just wish everybody a very happy new year. I'm sure you guys are all just as excited as I am about 2018 and what it has to offer. I'm looking forward to making it the best year ever. That said, let's move right along. I love crowd participation, so let's get started with a poll. Okay, so on the screen you should have the first poll. Are you an HGTV fan? I mean, we're talking about HGTV a lot tonight and how Marshall Reddick interacts and partners with them. So again, appreciate the crowd participation. If you just take a few more minutes and get your vote in, I'd really appreciate it. Publish the results here shortly. All right, good. Most of you got your votes in. Couple more seconds. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close the poll, and we're going to share the results. So now on the screen, you should have the results that looks like the overwhelming majority are indeed HGTV fans. That's awesome. I am an HGTV fan myself. My wife and I watch it quite a bit, actually. I don't have a lot of time to watch TV, but nonetheless, love seeing all those fix and flip shows. So I'm glad you guys do as well. All right, so that said, moving along, here we go. This, as you see on your screen, this is actually just to get your, stoke the fire a little bit, whet your appetite. This is an after photo of a pilot episode of an HGTV show that we here at Marshall Reddick financed. So a lot more of this type of info to come in tonight's presentation. But real quick, the loan amount on this particular property was $110,000, a 12% interest, and this is how it translated. The loan was out for 162 days, and the lender on this deal earned almost $6,000. So we'll dive a little bit more into the details behind some of these loans, but just wanted to get, like I said, the fire stoked. So my name's Patrick Prunty. Again, super excited to be here with you guys. Those of you who have met me know that I love these types of events. I prefer actually in person, but webinar just the same. So let's jump right into another quick poll question and get that on the screen here. We're sticking with HGTV, so I'm going to go ahead and launch this. You should have the second poll. This will be our last poll for the night, so again, appreciate your participation. The question is, Marshall Reddick and HGTV first met when? Great, getting some good participation there. And while we're waiting for this, it's great to see so many longtime Marshall Reddick clients on the call tonight. There's a number of you, also a number of new people I'm not familiar with, so that's great to have you guys as well. All right, so a couple more seconds here. Appreciate your feedback. Okay. So we will go ahead and close the poll. And I'll share the results with you now. Pretty evenly matched, actually identical. 45% thought that it was an MR agent who sold a flip or flop Orange County listing. And half of you thought that one of MR's fix and flip borrowers was picked up by flip or flop. It's actually number one, which was the MR agent sold a flip or flop Orange County property. That was our first interaction with HGTV, but very cool to note that actually all three of those are true. So we did recently have an MR client apply to House Hunters, and they were selected. So right here on the screen, this is actually the conference room that I'm sitting in now. We had HGTV here at our office in Newport Beach. Now, for those of you who know us well, that's Scott Pastel right there in the back right corner. So very cool to be participating with HGTV as our business grows, and certainly the lending department is heading the way. So real quick, when we get into this, the private lending programs that we do operate here, I want to make sure everyone's clear on exactly what we're talking about. So most folks, when they think about real estate investing, they're thinking buying property and collecting rent. And that's certainly a great way to go. But specifically, we're talking about lending money and collecting interest. So if you didn't know, Marshall Reddick allows its clients to invest in private loans secured by real estate in a passive fashion. A little bit more passive than maybe being the landlord and collecting rent. So again, you're going to lend your money and collect interest. So ever wonder how the stars of HGTV get the cash to buy those fixer-uppers? Plain and simple, they borrow it. And a lot of people might think that they'd go to a bank, but they just don't. I got to tell you, the bank is simply too slow. These fixer-uppers are in high demand, and the sellers are often in distress. Okay? The buyer needs to move super quickly, and oftentimes may need to close on this fixer-upper purchase within 5 to 7 days. That bank just won't work. So it's private investors just like you who provide the capital needed to fill this niche. The banks just can't do it. And these private investors, like yourselves, are rewarded with a nice return. The market currently bears interest at rates of 9 to 12%. So those of you investors out there like me and a lot of my clients, a double-digit return with the security of a property behind it is a fantastic investment and a great return. I'm certainly not a stock market guy. I like the tangible asset, and this is about as good as it gets for me. I'm sure you'll agree as we move through this informative presentation. So how do I get started? Investors alike love this concept, right? But they lack the trusted borrower relationships. Right? How do you know who to lend your money to? How do you know who knows what they're doing? Right? It's a conundrum. This is why you need Marshall Reddick, plain and simple, right? Marshall Reddick has been in business, the residential real estate business that is, since 1979. Myself, Patrick Prunty, I'm one of the senior members on the team, and I actually started back in 2003. So you need to work with somebody who has the relationships. And again, that's Marshall Reddick. So you got a map of the United States on the screen, and this marks the markets that we continually lend, and we have a trusted fix and flip team in each of these markets. So I used the airport codes, and for those who aren't sure, BNA is Nashville, CLT is Charlotte, and RSW is down in Cape Coral. So again, we have a trusted team in each of these markets, and we're actively lending in each of these markets on an ongoing basis. We allow you, again, to lend your capital and earn the interest. So like I mentioned, we only lend to experienced borrowers with whom we have a relationship based on trust. So I'll knock on HGTV again because there's so many of us out there that like to watch it, and a lot of people want to get into the fix and flip business. So understand that someone just can't call me and say, hey, Pat, I watch HGTV and I know how to flip property. Can I get a private loan? And the answer to that is no. right? So we only want to work with those groups that we've worked with in the past. Many of the times we've done hundreds of deals with these borrowers, these teams that we have in these markets around the country. So this relationship that we have really is the key to this program, right? It provides you, Marshall Reddick investors, with investment opportunities consistently. Again, I've got a lot of lenders of mine already on the call tonight, and you guys know if you're ready to go, I can push deals your way. And you also get safety, which is super important. Right? A lot of people would say, this type of lending has some risk to it, and it certainly does. No investment comes without risk, but that relationship that we have adds that extra layer of safety, right? The borrower respects Marshall Reddick, and flipping property is hard. There will be times when the rehab goes sideways, when the property doesn't fetch a sales price as high as they thought it would. And in some cases, the borrower will lose money, but the Marshall Reddick investor does not. The borrower will come out of pocket to pay off the loan on those few times that the deal goes a little sideways, but they do that to protect the relationship with Marshall Reddick, because they know if my lender doesn't get paid, I can't continue to lend to them. Plain and simple. So we offer two lending programs. One, mailbox money, and we're not going to talk too much about that tonight. That's specifically for funding buy and hold loans for investors, and more specifically, non-recourse loans for IRA and 401k borrowers. We do have that program, a little bit lower interest, lower risk, and certainly we can chat about that, but not on this presentation. Tonight we will be focusing on what I like to call the QFCR program, which again is funding fix and flip loans. And I'll dive into what that acronym means here shortly. Okay, you can find this private lending flyer at the web address below. Okay, and this is a side-by-side snapshot, 2-3 minute read on the two programs that we offer. So let's dive in. Some important lending details that you need to know. Okay, all of our programs are one lender on one mortgage. We don't have a syndication, and we're not pooling people together. So I won't put you and 3 other random Marshall Reddick investors on a single deal. Instead, it's going to be one lender on one mortgage. So you'll need all of the capital to make and fund that single deal. You'll own the mortgage, right? You'll actually be on the loan documentation. Could be you personally, could be an LLC, could be a trust. But you will actually be listed on the loan documentation with the borrower as the lender. As I mentioned, we're not crowdfunding and we're not syndicating. Title, escrow, and insurance is always included. Folks, do yourself a favor. If you're ever going to be doing any private lending and you're going to stray outside of Marshall Reddick, please make sure you get title insurance. You'll thank me later. And always use escrow, no matter what. If you've got somebody out there saying, even a family member, I'll give you a first trust deed on this property, just wire me the money. Absolutely do not do that. You have to go through the proper channels, utilizing title insurance, escrow, and homeowner's insurance to protect your investment, your loan on the property. Hey, you collect the interest. There is no arbitrage. Marshall Reddick does not take a piece of the interest. You earn it. We'll talk about the interest rates and the programs, but you will earn that. Now, that said, that's a good segue. How does Marshall Reddick make money? Very simply, and just as any lender that's out there. So anyone who's gotten a loan before from a bank or from a private lender or something of the sort, you know that it's the borrower that pays Marshall Reddick a loan fee, right? Just like if you bought your primary residence, you work with JP Morgan Chase. You're going to work with a loan officer, and at closing, you're going to pay that loan officer a loan fee for helping set up your loan. No different in our program. Again, our borrowers will pay our fee. Okay, so QFCR stands for quick, fund, collect, and repeat. And I kind of coined that out of the fact that these loans are very quick, right? You get them done quick, you collect your money, your capital, and your interest back really quick, and then you're always looking to repeat, right? Those real investors out there know that it's all about annual yield, right? It's not about the interest rate, right? If I lend my capital at 12%, but I only have it invested for 6 out of 12 months, well, my actual yield, my annual return is going to be 6%. And that's not what you want. You want to keep that rate as high as possible. So you're going to be constantly looking to keep funding these deals, right? We have the deal flow to do it. Nonetheless, that's what QFCR stands for. So in this program, we're talking rates of 9 to 12%. We're talking extremely short term, 12 months maximum. But understand that that's the maximum. On average, these loans in this program are closing out in about 4 to 6 months, right? The borrower, the flipper, is vested in getting that property renovated and resold as quickly as possible. And the reason is they're on the hook for interest every single day to you. And that takes away from their profit margin. Okay, so again, moving on, the purpose of these loans are to lend to those sophisticated groups out there who are flipping properties, right? Just as you see on HGTV. So payments-wise, seldomly in the short-term program will there be monthly payments. Most of the loans are balloon payments, which will mean that you collect the interest in one lump sum along with the principal at the resale of the property. Sometimes I do get interest-only payment options, but seldomly. We do have a prepayment penalty. I like to call it a 90-day interest guarantee. That doesn't come into play too often, as no matter how fast the group is that's borrowing and flipping, seldomly do they get the property completely renovated and resold and off the books and paid in less than 90 days. However, if that was to happen, you will receive 90 days worth of interest. Okay, hope that's clear. And most important on the screen, which establishes your risk, is going to be the maximum loan to value. So our guidelines, Marshall Reddick guidelines, state that we will lend no more than 70% of the property's after renovation value. So what the property will be worth after it's fixed up. So that establishes what our maximum loan will be. Now, we here at Marshall Reddick, we have an underwriting team, and we determine the after renovation value on every property, not our borrower, not a third party, right? And when we get to the website, speak a little bit about that, you'll see that we publish all of the details, including the comparable sales that we used to establish our after renovation value. Okay, here is my rate sheet. So this is what my borrowers look at. Okay, they know that these are my loan programs, and they know this is how the details work. Okay, so again, this is the 9, 10, and 12% loan programs. You can also find this on our website, and the URL is listed there below. Okay, let's speak a little bit about the website. Very cool, very hip website. We work on it constantly. And we're very excited about where it's going, but we're also very excited about where it's come. So here we go. This is our homepage, and you can see there that you've got the properties and mortgages, that little box that pops out. So if you want to buy rental property from us, you go to the properties section. If you're interested in funding deals for the Stars of HGTV and other similar fix and flip or buy and hold projects, you're going to go to the mortgages tab. Before you do that, however, you want to make sure that you create an account. Super easy to do, and up there in the right-hand corner, you can do that. When you click Create Account, that's going to ask you for a little bit of information. Not a lot, as I see a lot of websites today, but just a little bit of information so we know who you are. At that point, you're going to go ahead and click on the mortgages button, and that's going to dive you into what I like to call the list view. Okay, so this is going to show you mortgages that are not only available, as you see on the screen, but you can also see deals that are funding in progress. That means that I've already got a commitment from a lender and we're in escrow. You can also see deals that are funded, meaning we've already closed escrow and a Marshall Reddick lender's money is in on that deal. You can also see deals that are paid in full. I mean, we've created an open-ended system of accounting here where all loans will always stay on the website. So I want you guys to utilize this not only to stay abreast as to what deals are available, but also to see what kind of track record Marshall Reddick has. I mean, we're very, very interested in our fiduciary responsibility. We stand behind our product, and we're not afraid to show you right online. And so just a few bit of numbers for you guys. We're approaching 1,000 loans over the past 9 or 10 years that we've been running this program. And out of that 1,000 loans, we have 33 total defaults. Okay, and just because there's a default doesn't mean that there was a loss of principal, right? And actually, out of those 33 defaults, we've actually only had to go through the foreclosure process 2 times. And we actually chose those 2 times to go through the foreclosure process. There were some other liens on the property that we needed to wipe out before we took possession of the property. Now, the other 29 deals, we were negotiating a deed in lieu of foreclosure, right? So the lender simply took the property back and we decided what to do with it at that point. Do we keep it as a rental? Do we sell it as is? Do we finish the renovation and sell it when it's completely fixed up? But again, that's a very small percentage of the time the default will occur, and it's not the end of the world when it does. It's just business. Because remember, you always have the security, the collateral property as that security for your loan. Okay, back to the website. This is the list view. I got this showing you here that we're really pioneering something here, that we're going to be allowing you to consistently browse, click, and buy a mortgage right online. Right? We're going to be changing some of the legislation in the country that is, I won't say prohibiting, but that people just aren't doing this. Right? So technology today is rapidly expanding, and we're super excited about the ability. I mean, who knows? You might be buying your neighbor's mortgage before you know it. And I think the big banks are in trouble due to technology and due to their rigid circumstance. So note that at the top here, we have some filter criteria. Okay, so we'll allow you to filter through and weed out maybe any loans that or any mortgages that you don't want to focus in on. Okay, so utilize those filters. This is kind of what the filters look like. And again, they're constantly changing. But here you can see, or you can refine your search by buy and hold or fix and flip, by purchase, refi, or cash out refi, deals that are available, funding in process, funded, and paid in full, as I mentioned. So utilize this technology. When you're done with your filters, you just click done and you move right back into your list view. Now, as you're browsing, anytime you see something you like, you click on full details, and that's going to dive you into what I call the detail view, right? So this is just an example, and note the loan ID on the right. That's going to be important. We're going to be diving into some more specific deals that have recently been funded. And just to pause here, that all deals that we're seeing tonight are HGTV deals, right? They are flip properties that were funded by Marshall Reddick clients, and we've got many more of those to come. So I just think that's so cool when on national television you can see your hard-earned capital at work and you can be handsomely rewarded with a double-digit interest rate in return. So again, this is the detail view. A lot of info you'll be able to find on here, photos of the property, all the specifics of the property, who the third-party service providers are, right? We tell you who the escrow company is that we're going to use. We tell you who the insurance company is going to provide the borrower with homeowners insurance, right? And we give you their contact information. If you feel like you need to make a phone call and just to verify that, yeah, there's a live deal going, I know Patrick, yeah, okay, no problem. Feel free to make that phone call. Again, it's all available to you right online. Also wanted to point out that as our website evolves, one of our most recent steps was all loan commitments are being taken online. So I've enlarged the fund this loan green button. You will need to click on that button in order to commit to doing an available deal. Now, when you do that, you'll need to be logged in. We already talked about that. And the first step is going to be you'll receive an email that will ask you to e-sign a short disclaimer, as you'd see on just about every website these days. And again, that can be done very quickly. And we'll get notification. Me and my underwriting team will know when that's happened. And these loans are funded on a first come, first served basis, right? I got to tell you, they're going extremely quickly. We're funding about 25 loans, 30 loans a month on average. And in many cases, I put up a loan inside of 30 minutes. I've got somebody who's clicked or multiple people interested in doing that loan. Now, don't let that discourage you, okay? I like to bring new people into the program. And when we have a consultation, which I'm happy to have with each of you, you're going to let me know what you like, what kind of capital that you'd like to get started with on your first deal. And before I make a deal available, I will shoot it to you, right? I've got a list of new people interested, and I'll give you a 24-hour window of exclusivity before I make it available. I wish I had more time to give you than 24 hours, but like I said, a lot of times from the date that property goes under contract, oftentimes it's got to fund within 5 to 7 business days. So that means I got to get through the underwriting process. I got to get it loaded to the website. I've got to get title and escrow and docs and homeowners insurance and everything in order inside that window. So again, I just don't have more time than that, but you will have opportunities. Okay, one last thing I wanted to mention before I move on from the detail view is, again, we will publish all of the comps, both sale and rental comps, that we use to support our after renovation value, and you'll be able to see those right online. I encourage you, of course, to do your own due diligence, but again, we make that detail available to you. Okay, so let's talk some specific deals that we, in the last year, have funded for the Stars of HGTV. So I have across the top is the URL that will actually take you to that. So if you'd like to go do some research and understand some more information that I'm going to present now, feel free to visit the website. All you got to do is type in that URL and you will have all the details. So here's the before picture, right? Doesn't look bad, but doesn't look great, a little outdated. Here's the after picture. And any of those HGTV watchers out there, you probably seen that photo. Beautiful. Okay, so this was funded with a first trust deed. $420,000 was that loan amount. The specified program called for a 12% interest rate, which that per diem interest works out to $140 per day. Okay, and that's just simply $420,000 times 12% divided by 360 days. That will give you that per diem interest rate. Okay, this particular loan almost went the distance, right? Just shy of 1 year, which, hey, from the lender's perspective, that is awesome, right? This lender, a Marshall Reddick client just like you, earned $50,000 in interest in that 360 days, 359 days to be specific. So we're all, planning for the year, and we've got all our goals going for 2018. Set yourself a goal. Become a Marshall Reddick lender, right? Earn $50,000 this year in interest, right? It's that simple. Okay, let's talk about another one, right? Similar, average looking property, nothing special. That's the before picture, right? Here's the after, right? Those flippers are just getting better and better and better. Complete gut job on the property, and it just looks fantastic. So here's the details on this particular loan. This loan amount, $250,000. This called for a 10% interest rate based on the loan program selected by the borrower. Translates into $69.44 a day, and this particular loan was more around my average. Remember, it's 12 months max, but on average, it's about 180 days or so that these loans are outstanding. All right, so this was a little bit longer than that, but still closer at 209 days. Total interest, $14.5. Not a bad day's work, right? All right, again, all passive. On the front end, you're going to do your due diligence, you're going to analyze the deal, and you're going to say, okay, I'll fund that loan. Right? Certainly you can ask questions about it. I'm happy to answer them, but you're going to be the decision maker, right? If you've got the capital, you want to sink it into this, and you want to be the lender, and you want to earn this 10%, let's do it, right? Join the other hundreds of Marshall Reddick investors who have already learned how passive this lending can be. Okay, let's move on to another one. And again, take note of those URLs, those website listings for these mortgages. And also note that tomorrow the presentation slides and the recording of this presentation will be available. So if you didn't have a chance to write it down, no problem. It'll be on the recording tomorrow. Man, this one was a real junker. I remember this one really well. Before and after. They just did a fantastic job on this deal. This is one of my more sophisticated borrowers, but not everybody is an HGTV borrower, but this really goes to show the quality of borrower that Marshall Reddick attracts, right? Again, we're not working with weekend warriors. We're working with professionals who are local market knowledgeable individuals, right? Born and raised in that market, usually. Been there for 20, 30, 40 years. Hundreds and thousands of deals they've done, right? That's the type of experience, and that's the type of person you want to be lending to, right? If you could find it on your own, that would be awesome. But that's why you need Marshall Reddick. Not only for the deal flow, but again, remember, for the safety. So this particular deal was a little bit lower, $170,000. I'll pause there for a second, and although the three that I've shown were higher loan amounts, 170, 250 on the prior one, and 420 on the prior one, don't let that discourage you either, right? I have loans of all shapes and sizes. I really don't get into loan amounts under 30K. Generally, you're not going to be lending against the nicest of properties. And the ultimate question you ask yourself when contemplating doing one of these loans is, if I had to own the property for the amount I'm lending against it, am I okay with that? If the answer to that's yes, then you make the loan. If the answer is no, then you don't make the loan, right? But again, specifically, I don't get into loan amounts under 30 because the underlying asset, that underlying property, is not probably going to be the best. Okay, so that said, I do get into loan amounts as low as 30, but the sweet spot is really 75 to about 200,000. Now, I have a lot of opportunities above 200,000, but there's a lot less single individual investors out there with enough capital that they're willing to sink into one deal at 200,000 or greater. Okay? But again, we don't syndicate, we don't crowdfund. So you'll need to have that amount of capital. I have a bonus presentation tonight that we're going to get into, as I just had a deal come available that will even be a higher loan amount, but a lot of people are interested in funding deals here locally in California, and I have those opportunities. But remember, California is an expensive market. You really need $500K liquid cash in order to lend on a private loan here, right? I'll show you that deal here in a second. So to finish this slide up, again, this is 170,000, 10%, just about the average again, 203 days. Did a beautiful job on this property, and as the lender, not a bad day's work at $9,500 in interest earned. Okay, let's go through a few frequently asked questions. And I'm on the call by myself tonight, so I'm not going to be able to get back to many of you in the chat box if you have questions. Certainly ask them, however. Me and my underwriting team will follow up with you individually after this call to address any of those questions that we didn't get answered. Okay, so the most common questions I get with regard to this lending that we're doing is, what costs and fees should I expect? Right? Great question. Well, the answer to that question is, as a Marshall Reddick lender on the fix and flip program, there are no costs and fees. No, you don't pay Marshall Reddick anything, and you're not going to be paying anybody else anything, right? It's completely free. Again, Marshall Reddick's in the business to make money, and we do that by earning a loan fee paid by our borrower, okay? But you as the lender, no costs. How does Marshall Reddick make money? We talked about that earlier, but just to hammer it home, our borrower's paying our fee, right? In these short-term loans, that fee is going to be 2% of the loan amount, right? $1,000 minimum. Do I need an entity like an LLC to invest? And the answer is no. I do all the loans myself personally, anything that I fund personally, but you know, I'm not an entity guy. If you've already got one, great, no problem. An LLC works, a trust works, a corporation works, but you know, a lot of people want to run out and create that entity just to do, you know, the investment. It's not necessary. Okay, so again, if you have it, no problem. It will work, but it's okay to do it individually or to list you and your wife or you and a significant other, etc. So how is the income I earn taxed? Now, I'm not a CPA, okay, so I can't provide you with tax advice. But I can tell you that most of the borrowers will issue a 1099 interest statement at the end of every tax year, okay? So you are earning interest as the lender, and you're going to need to discuss with your CPA or your tax professional about how to handle that interest income. Right? It will be taxed. Are there any tax benefits? Right? A lot of folks that are interested in investing in real estate, they really like the tax benefits offered by owning the property, like writing off your mortgage interest and writing off your property taxes, etc. So that's not applicable in the lending programs, right? There are no tax write-offs. I mean, short of your wire transfer fee or you know, the fee that your bank charges you to wire the money to escrow, something like that. But those are minor, right? There's nothing major. Okay, so you're going to be earning money, interest, and you're going to be liable for how that plays out in terms of the tax on your 1040 at the end of every year. Now, as much as I dislike paying Uncle Sam, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't dislike it. I feel that I pay more than my fair share. But at the end of the day, if I'm paying tax, I'm making money, and that's a good thing. Can we speak with another lender for reference? Absolutely. A lot of times I get asked for, you know, let me speak to 2 or 3 clients of yours who have been your private lenders for some time. I'm absolutely okay with that. I'll, of course, need to ask them first and get their permission before I just go ahead and give you their email or their cell phone number. But I have no doubt in my mind that some of my long-running lenders would be happy to speak with you. I mean, they've seen the light of the day. I mean, I've got people who've got 10, 12, 15 loans out with me at any single given time. Right? And I've got lenders who have done 50 or more loans with me over the last 10 years. So these folks are earning an annual salary in interest every single year passively, right? They just happen to have the capital and they understand the low risk offered by a secured mortgage investment. So no problem. If you want to speak to somebody else, let me know and I'd be happy to make that connection. Okay, and lastly, as far as our frequently asked questions, if I experience a default, can I call Marshall Reddick for help? Absolutely. I spoke a little bit earlier about our fiduciary responsibility and how seriously we take that. In the event of default on your loan, you absolutely, I would hope, would call me and my team at Marshall Reddick for help, right? No charge, right? Happy to do it, right? I stand behind my product, and while it happens so seldomly, it does happen, right? And when it happens, it's not the end of the world, right? I understand if you're mildly freak out about it, but it's just business, right? We're going to get an attorney involved if is necessary. If we have to take the property in foreclosure and go through that formality, we absolutely will. It is a process and it is an expense, but it's not a lot. It's not an expensive ordeal, and it doesn't take forever. But commonly, we're going to be able to get that property back in lieu of foreclosure because the borrower is going to realize that the best thing to do is to just give the property back. So if that happens, I'm going to help you through the entire process. I'll give you advice, but you will ultimately be the decision maker because you are the lender. You chose to make that loan. It's going to work out for the most part, but nonetheless, you need to understand that there is a risk, as there is with any investment. Okay, glad to wrap up those frequently asked questions. But again, if you have some, go ahead and type it in the chat box. Happy to answer any of those off the call. Okay, moving along. As I mentioned, I have a bonus for tonight's presentation, and this is super cool. This comes from my team in Los Angeles. Just picked up this deal on Monday, got their contract accepted. So I spent the last couple of days analyzing it, pushing it through our underwriting program and our strict criteria, and happy to present it to you guys. This literally went available like 10 minutes before the call. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of activity on it, but who knows? Maybe you'll fund it. Here's the before picture, and of course the after is coming soon. This property is in the Highland Park, Eagle Rock neighborhood. Super highly sought after area. Short of Echo Park and the Silver Lake area, this is probably the hottest market in Los Angeles. Oftentimes the properties are selling for more than $1,000 a square foot, right? Very expensive. And it certainly doesn't look good right now, but none of the fixer-uppers, the ones that really need a value add, that are really going to sell for that top dollar, need that awesome renovation. And it's the types of teams that we work with that are going to be able to do that have the experience to do that. So this particular loan, again, you can check it out. You've got the URL there. It is available at present. The loan amount is going to be $550,000. The purchase price on this is $570,000, just for FYI. So while a lot of my loans fund 100% or more of the purchase price, this one's actually a little bit more conservative, right? So we're looking at a $550,000 loan amount. It's under 70% of the after repair value. That after repair value on this property is running in at roughly $800,000. And again, you'll be able to see the comps that I use, recently sold properties that support that value, right? This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, almost 1,100 square feet. It's got some city views, and it's going to look fantastic when it's done. So this will carry a 10% interest, which will translate into $152, almost $153 per day that you will earn in an extremely passive fashion as the lender, right? I hope you get this deal, and if you don't, no worries. I've got plenty of others. If this loan amount's too high for you, no worries. We'll find something that fits you. But I challenge you in 2018 to become a Marshall Reddick lender if you're not already one, okay? And if you are one, let's do some more, right? You already know the value in this program, so let's make it happen. All right, so that's what I've got for tonight. Appreciate everyone taking the time to be with me. Again, I love doing these types of events, and just looking forward to a fantastic 2018. And just note that our fix and flip borrower, our flip or flop borrower, just signed up for a second season. Right, so we funded almost all of their first season deals. Many of those you saw tonight, and we're looking forward to another season wherein we'll be able to see the Marshall Reddick Capital right on national TV. That's a cool thing, and I hope you get to be a part of it. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Y'all have a beautiful evening. We'll talk to you soon.